All good. Yeah. Stephen, obviously the fixtures are out. As a manager, as a former player as well, genuinely, what was it a time, a day when you kind of got quite excited about it and you had had a wee look as to who you were facing?
Yeah, I think you're just back in the door, so you've got your 6-7 weeks to build up before the start of the season. But I think there's key times. I don't think you can sit and look, and if you think you had the three smallest clubs in budget, you think that's going to be the best start, because it very rarely does it unfold like that. I think depending on what your start of the season looks like European wise, that'll have an impact. But it's good because you always want to, depending on your club, you look at the Christmas fixtures, the New Year fixtures, and probably that first month run of fixtures to try and get out the traps quite quickly.
It's been a bit of a summer of managerial switches and what have you. Can you talk us through your own situation? Were you close to getting involved in any of those clubs at all that were looking?
If I'm honest, no. I think just where I'm at, what I've done with the time off, and what I want to do in terms of learning. Currently going through my pro licence and meeting some experienced managers and learning. I think that's a period that I think I missed. When you finish playing and you go straight into coaching, and within 3 years I was a manager, you miss opportunities to go and learn. I think that for me is really important through this period. And like I've said, I think the opportunity needs to be perfect for me. I'm not going to just jump in just to get back in the hot seat.
One of the players, sort of the managers who've joined up into the Scottish League, Russell Martin, who you know through your Norwich days, is that correct? What do you know about him? What do you think he'll bring to the Scottish game and specifically to Rangers?
Yeah, I know Russ well. We were teammates Scotland and at Norwich. Had many conversations about what we would do when we're coaching and managing over the years, and both have kind of similarly got into management quite quickly. But I've said a few times, Russ's communication skills and leadership skills are probably the highest things for him. And he's shown in the 3 clubs he's managed that he can produce, he can make teams better. I think coming up to Rangers is definitely an area that he won't have experienced that intensity and the expectation, but I fully believe that he will come in and be a real success. I think what has been lacking at Rangers over the years, he ticks most of the boxes. A style of play, he knows how to break down a low block that he'll come up against a lot, because that's the style he wants to play in terms of dominating possession. And his experience of playing at the club over the years is definitely something that will hold him in good stead going into the start of his managerial career at Rangers.
Have you spoken to him? Have you given him some advice as to what to expect from up here at a crowded Ibrox?
I don't need to. I think his experience. He was at the club, unfortunately, at a time where it wasn't great. So he knows how hard it can be. And I think from stories from all his teammates over the years who have played with Rangers and told how good it can be when you're winning, he has an understanding. We chat a lot because we're friends and we're similar in terms of what we're going through in terms of coach and management. So I'll give him any help I can. But he's pretty straightforward and laser focused on his style, his mindset, and what he wants. So I think he's well prepared for coming into the job.
Just a final one from me. What are the challenges that he specifically faces, do you think?
I think getting results early is important. As much as the bigger picture, he's got a clear style. He wants his players to do certain things on the pitch that in Scotland get challenged from the stands quickly if it's not going well. And I think he said that in his initial interview, that finding that balance of having that clear style and working towards that, but also getting results short term's going to be key for him.
Just in terms of the fans of Rangers, I think they're not getting anxious, but they want transfers in quickly. Panathinaikos, arguably the toughest draw. Can you understand where they're coming from in terms of how much sort of surgery that squad needs?
I think everybody knows what's needed. I think the last 2 to 3 seasons shows it's not been good enough. It's not where expectation is. As every fan of every club, you want signings done quick. When you see other clubs signing players, you think, but from being this side of it in my previous job, it's very rarely as straightforward as that, and especially when you're a club the size of Rangers, the players you're going after, it's small details that's going to make or break whether they sign for you or not. But I do think the right people are in place to definitely make the change that's needed.
First part, the first game, the opening weekend of the season. As a manager, obviously you've experienced it. What's it like when you're coming up against a team in Motherwell who are also going through their own sort of mini shake-up as well? You can't really look into how they're playing or whatnot. What's that like as a manager in the opening weekend when you kind of don't really know what you're coming up against?
Yeah, it's tricky. It's probably more so in a season where a manager change happens and then you play them the next week. I think for most teams, there is big change in the league in general. I think for most teams, that League Cup, when seeing the performances in there, that gives you a good indicator. And the teams that are in Europe, they're the ones that get the chance to watch at that point, but I think they'll lose out on that competitive action start to a season. So I think for a lot of teams, the change in the unknown, if you like, from the new managers coming into the league and the teams coming up, it's going to be a tricky, fascinating start to the season.
Hearts have got a move on in terms of 6 signings already. The Tony Bloom investments in already as well now. How do you see them going, and what have you made of how Dale has operated early doors in that role?
Dale's used all his experience. I think it's different to most of his jobs he's had in terms of the structure. But again, from his comments and how I felt about when I was in the role hearing about Jamestown coming in, it's a massive positive. In this day and age where every transfer is a risk, if you can minimise that risk to the detail that they can at Jamestown, then I'm pretty certain they'll get more transfers right than wrong. And for any manager, you do want the signings in as quick as you can, and they've managed to do that. I'm pretty sure there'll still be quite a bit of change, whether it be players going out or more bodies coming in. But again, I must say Dale, for me as a young manager, was fantastic in terms of his advice and his communication with me over the years. And I do think he is the right person for where Hearts are at the moment and to guide them to where the expectation is.
Did you always see Derek taking that step up, with no disrespect to Kilmarnock, but he had that sort of managerial streak in him even as a player?
Yeah, I think he's somebody who obviously done really well at this very early start of his career, went into Aberdeen and had a period of success, which, because maybe Rangers in the league is looked from the side as being weaker, he probably doesn't get the credit he deserves. Goes down south and it didn't work out, but he's worked his way back to, I think, being in a position to manage at the level of Hearts for sure. He's somebody who can consistently improve teams and get them more success than they have. He took Kilmarnock from the Championship to Europe, and obviously his success at Aberdeen as well. So I think it's a good fit. I think the club and for Derek it's a really good fit.
Just back onto Rangers, were you quite surprised at the fan reaction to Russell Martin getting the job? Just what you've seen about him, what the skills he has to do the job, but the fan reaction maybe not being so familiar with him?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think Russ is somebody who's done a lot of his good work down south and probably out of the eyes of a lot in Scottish football. So with him being a young manager, that maybe the viewpoint is maybe that, is this job too big for him? But then when you look into what he's done at each club he's been at and the success he's had and where he's managed to get himself to the Premier League in a very short period of time, I think he is well equipped. But I also don't think that's a bad thing in terms of the reaction being mixed. I'm sure he'll, within the first 6 months or so, he'll have shown a lot of the guys that are maybe doubting him that he is the right man.
And just finally then, he's come in and said he's looking forward to the challenge of being the Rangers manager, but is there pressure on the board and your Kevin Threadwells of the world to get the signings, etc., right, as well as getting in wins early on?
Short term, that's the biggest thing that's going to transform Rangers is the recruitment. I think in the previous years you've seen how big an impact it can have, for the wrong reasons. I think now you need to make sure you get it right, and when you look at Celtic and how successful they've been in recruitment over the years, that probably adds a wee bit of pressure that Rangers need to make sure they make good signings quickly and get a fast start in the league.